If you're eating, enjoy your meal. I wish you a good day, that everything goes well, and enjoy the video. Get comfortable and pay attention to this story.
Today, we're unpacking the incredible story of how a man named Curtis Jackson survived the absolute impossible, took on the entire music industry, and built a global empire from nothing. This is the story of 50 Cent. And we have to start with this number, just one, 9. It's the number that defines his entire legend. It's the moment his whole life pivots on. 9 bullets. I mean, think about it. Surviving something like that is one thing. But how in the world do you turn that trauma, that near-death experience, into fuel for a global empire? Well, that's the story we're getting into right now. To really understand the man, you have to go back to the very beginning. You have to understand the streets that made him. So Curtis Jackson grew up fast, way too fast. In South Jamaica, Queens, his mom, Sabrina, was a dealer. Tragically, she died in a mysterious fire when he was just 8 years old. From then on, his grandparents raised him, but he'd already seen more of life's dark side than most people ever do. You know, his early life was really on these two parallel tracks. At 11, he's in the gym, boxing, learning discipline. But by 12, he's already on the street stealing. It's this wild mix of real ambition and the hustle you need to survive. And yeah, it led to an arrest, but it also, amazingly, led him to the legendary Jam Master Jay of Run DMC, who actually taught him how to write a song. So when it was time to pick a rap name, he didn't just make one up. He took one straight from street legend. The original 50 Cent was a guy named Kelvin Martin, a notorious stick-up kid from Brooklyn. For Curtis Jackson, taking that name was like a mission statement. I'm gonna provide for myself, by any means. So his career is just starting to take off. He's got a major label record deal, and then the day comes that nearly erases it all. The date is literally etched into hip-hop history, May 24th, 2000. He was just sitting in a car right outside his grandmother's house in Queens when another car suddenly pulled up. An attacker got out, walked up, and fired 9 times. 9. The damage was just devastating. He was hit everywhere. One bullet fragment even lodged in his tongue, which is what gave him his signature slight slur. The fact that he's even alive today is, well, it's a miracle. And this just shows you how brutal the music industry can be. While 50 is in the hospital literally fighting for his life, his career is dying on the table. Columbia Records decided he was too much of a liability. They shelved his album and they dropped him completely. Just like that, he was an outcast. But here's the thing. For 50, this wasn't an end. It was a revelation. He said it himself. Surviving the impossible made him feel like he must have a real purpose in life. And you know what? That mindset became his most powerful weapon. So there he is, dropped by his label, left for dead by the industry. And from that rock bottom, he starts one of the most incredible comeback stories music has ever seen. He went back to the mixtape circuit, just flooding the streets with music and building this huge underground buzz. Then a copy of his mixtape lands in the hands of Eminem. And Impressed doesn't even cover it. M flew him out to LA, introduced him to Dr. Dre, and right there they offered him $1 million deal. Less than a year later, Get Rich or Die Trying hits the shelf. So why? What did Eminem see in him? Well, M said it best. He said 50 had that same aura as Tupac, that same authenticity. When he rapped about getting shot, you knew it was 100% real. It was a kind of realness that had been missing from the mainstream, and 50 brought it back in the biggest way possible. And man, was the world ready for it. The album was an absolute juggernaut. We're talking almost 900,000 copies sold in just 4 days. Songs like In the Club were everywhere. 50 Cent wasn't just back on the map. He was basically the biggest star on the entire planet. But just being a star was never going to be enough. He was already thinking bigger. He wasn't just building a career, he was building an empire. So he launches G-Unit Records and brings his whole crew. Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, Young Buck right along with him. And G-Unit became more than just a rap group. It was a movement, a brand. They were dominating music, fashion, everything. And if you thought his first album was huge, just look at the follow-up. His second album, The Massacre, sold over 1.1 million copies in its first week. The momentum he had was just unstoppable. Okay, to really understand how dominant he was, get this. In 2005, he had 3 songs in the Billboard Top 5 at the exact same time. He wasn't just on the charts, he was the charts. But in the music world, no peak lasts forever. And 50 Cent, always the strategist, saw the entire landscape shifting and started planning his next move. This right here was a huge cultural moment. He went head-to-head pitting his album Curtis against Kanye West's Graduation. And when Kanye came out on top, a lot of people saw it as a major shift in hip-hop, away from gangster rap. For 50, it was a clear signal. It's time to pivot. So while he definitely kept making music, his focus really started to change. He was already thinking beyond music, looking at TV, movies, and all kinds of other business deals. He was transforming from a rap superstar into a full-on media executive. And that pivot? It paid off big time. Through his own production company, he created the massive hit series Power and all its spin-offs, becoming a powerhouse in television. Then he did it again with BMF. From a surprise Super Bowl performance to starring in action movies, he's built a whole new empire in Hollywood. I mean, when you look at the whole story, it's just wild. From the streets of Queens to the corporate boardroom, from surviving 9 bullets to becoming a TV mogul, 50 Cent's life is a masterclass in survival and ambition. It really just leaves you with one question. What in the world is he going to conquer next?